and that's how I was able to free that ostrich from drowning again. It was just crazy. So
that's probably one of the best stories that I've ever heard. Really, I mean, it was like, because you had me on the edge of my seat, and I'm sitting there going, "Okay, how is he going to get to? How is this going to happen?"
Yeah, well, you know, I blacked out. I didn't even know how I came to. Well, guys, I'm super excited for this Q&A. As you guys have known, we have an amazing guest. Before we even dive in, guys, could you just do me a favor in the chat as you make your way inside? Just let me know if you could see us, hear us okay. Rick, say hello to everybody.
Yo, hello.
Ooh,
hello.
So rich and robust, this man's voice. Guys, thank you once again. But just go ahead and let us know in the chat. Liz, good to see you. Darko, it's great having you guys on board. Just let us know as we, you know, as you guys trickle in. Let us know you can see us, hear us okay. I'm the weird looking guy with the white shirt. We have an amazing guest with us, and we're really just going to hit the ground running because we have so many questions, and you guys are so eager to dive in. My guest, you know, I'm super thrilled. I'm so excited to see what I'm going to be learning so much from this. So, Rick, just in a nutshell, if you want to just introduce yourself, say hello to everybody jumping on board, and then we'll get started.
Yeah, I'm excited to be here. I don't want to waste a lot of time with who I am. You can Google that. You can go to my website, rickbarker.com, and find that out. I am here for you. Basically, been doing this for about 30 years. Radio is where I got my start. Always been a lover of music. Was never disciplined enough to learn how to play an instrument. That wasn't me. I always wanted the finished product. You know, I never wanted to do that. So DJing is what I did as a mobile DJ. Fell in love with music. Ended up in Muscle Shoals, Alabama. Got around live music. There's a great Netflix special on the Muscle Shoals music scene. If you ever get a chance to watch it. Ended up promoting bands while being a DJ at a radio station. 2001, built a country station. 2004, was asked to work for Big Machine Records and was introduced to, at then, a 16-year-old named Taylor Swift. 6 months after that, was asked to be her manager. I was blessed to have been with her at the beginning stages of her career, the hard part. And about 5 years ago, realized that not everyone needed a manager. Not everyone could afford a manager, but people needed advice and guidance. So I went into the internet space and started learning how to take my knowledge and experience and put it online and help people all over the world understand this business. Got real good. What I'm a specialist in is artist to fan engagement. I just learned how to use the tools real well, and that's where social media comes into play. And it's been great. So I've got programs. I speak all over, and I just have a blast doing what it is that I do. What I tell people is I can help influence the world with music that I've never written by helping teach you guys how to get those great songs in front of the right people. So there we go. That's the quickie version, if that makes sense.
All right, well, that was fun. See you later, guys. Have a great time. No, man, that was awesome. And guys, I'm extremely just blessed and humbled to be featured on Rick's recent podcast, and that in itself, his podcast is stocked with gems and so much great fruit from his experiences of working in this industry. So please check that out. It's even a blessing to me. So man, we're gonna dive right in. You guys have some amazing questions. So,
yeah, let's just have fun. Let's have fun and help solve some problems.
Let's do it. So first question comes from JJ in Japan. May I ask Rick, in his capacity as social media mentor, if he can recommend to us a social media course he knows of? Speaking for myself, this is by far the weakest part of my music game. P.S. Career highlight: I've played acoustic guitar for Taylor here in Japan on TV, and I thought she'll make it big. So yeah, is there a specific resource that you want to kind of focus on? Is there something that
you know what, this is what sucks, is because now I'm coming right out of the gate selling my own product, and that's not what the intention of this was. JJ, first off, thank you for the question. Yeah, what I did is I created a program a few years ago called Social Media for Music, and it was by far the best top to bottom and how to apply it as a musician. The problem that I ran into, though, is when I would meet with my clients and ask them, because I knew that they were getting their music out there. I knew they were getting some airplay on like Disney Radio or Pandora or Sirius. I said, how much money are you making with your music? And they said, well, I haven't collected anything yet. I said, well, who's your PRO? And they're like, what's a PRO? And I'm like, oh my goodness. I put the cart before the horse. So I was teaching people how to get rid of the product before making sure that their music was registered properly and their business was set up. So I have a program called the Fan Base Blueprint that does just that. It teaches you how to get your music registered properly, teaches you how to get your business set up, and then teaches you how to utilize Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, YouTube. We have a best practices. We constantly update it. So at the end, if you, we'll send you to the website, but I do have a program. It's $97. It's less than a vocal lesson, less than $100, and it's lifetime, and we update it. And then there's also opportunities to have me involved on the coaching side. But I didn't want to start with that. But JJ, you brought it up, my friend. So
way to go, JJ.
Yeah, no. I'm the only guy actually, and I don't say this to brag, but I want to make sure that all of you know who you're getting your information from. I'm the only person that teaches social media that's actually verified on Twitter, Instagram, and Facebook. And I think that's important no matter what you do. That's why when you purchase the Beat Academy, there's a lot of guys out there that will sell you beats or tell you what to do with your beats. But when you're dealing with Ill Factor and the Beat Academy, you're dealing with a practitioner. This is someone who makes his living by doing this. So you being here is a super smart investment. So that's why I don't feel bad about patting my own self on the back going, you won't find a better social media program than the one that I've created. And I've made it specifically for music. Next question.
I wish I had a bunch of mics to just drop here and there. But all right. So we've got Riva with the next question. I'd like some advice on attracting the right fans online. I've currently got an original song up and a lot of covers. I stick to current pop because that's the type of music I'm pursuing for myself. So I get two main types of people. One, musicians promoting their own music and just want to follow backs. Two, really sketchy people. This has been happening for years now since I started doing covers. So obviously my current plans are not working and I need to make a change. Is an ad the best way to target people? I imagine that would be my fan base. Are there any other things that I can do? What are some things that you've seen artists do which make a big impact in creating a strong fan base?
Sure, Riva, that is a great question. And I love how detailed your audience is. I mean, this makes it so helpful because I don't have to sit there and try to peel the layers of the onion back. They've already opened it wide up for me. So the first thing that you want to do is I've currently got an original song up and a lot of covers. What I would make sure that you're doing is that you're utilizing YouTube for your covers because that is a search engine. YouTube is still the #1 discovery tool for music. And then when you make sure that your description is filled out properly, you can then drive people from those covers over to hear your original song. You're always going to get musicians that promote themselves. It sucks. My advice to you is never be that person. What I would do is I would mute and block those people from your social channels because ultimately they're never going to buy your music. They're probably never going to share your music or consume your music. This is your real estate. You have the ability to let your house look however you want it to look. So if you ever get fans that are being rude or whatever, block them, get rid of them. It's not about the number of followers that you have. It's about the quality of followers that you have. I would much rather have 10 people that did everything I wanted than 100 people that just took up space, because what happens right now is that your messaging will never hit everyone. So if you've got your fans loaded up with a bunch of musicians and you post something and you're needing it to hit the consumers, it may not hit them. Facebook doesn't know the difference between the two. So let's make sure we're building the right product there. Ads are definitely the best way to target people. I just did an event for the CD Baby DIY Musicians Conference. This video is out there, but it was called Building Your Audience, Facebook Ads for $1 a Day. And I did a case study with one of my artists where we were taking 30-second cover videos to 1.5-minute cover videos to reaching original music. We went through a process in order to do that. So you are absolutely correct. The key is showing up every day on your socials and making sure that you're feeding the right audience. You can have the best hamburger stand in the world, but if you open it up in a town of vegetarians, you've pretty much screwed yourself. So let's make sure that you are putting the right product in front of the right person, utilize Facebook ads, Instagram ads to generate more to go towards those folks. And that will help out a lot. But I think you're going to be okay because you ask very thorough questions, Riva, and you've got an idea of who you are, which is step number one. Because a lot of people don't. They just throw a whole bunch of stuff out there. You're doing it with a purpose, and I love that. Yeah. And that's what will make a strong fan base.
Yeah, and also to realize, and this is something I harbor in a lot of having realistic expectations from the reality. I mean, if for a lot of people who are hearing this, they might just be starting to do this. And Riva's been, she's a long-term member here, and she's been doing, trucking at this for a while. And it could easily be so overwhelming and daunting when you don't see the right amount of results. You're like, I don't really see it, therefore I don't think I'm good enough. This is a long-term game. This has always been.
Oh, you're absolutely right. You're absolutely right. And unfortunately, we're trying to function in a dysfunctional business because our rewards aren't in direct proportion to the work that we put in. And for a lot of people, that's really hard for them to get a grasp on. That's why this business isn't for everyone. The biggest difference between a superstar and an artist that sings really well is work ethic. It's not talent. The talent, it's like there's people that are better singers that aren't superstars, but the superstars treat it like a business. The superstars are in it for the long game. Like you just said, it's like they're in it for the long haul. Those people that just want to show up, have a hit song, get on a couple red carpets, they're a dime a dozen. I mean, go look at the pop charts this year, and who don't you see from last year? Who don't you see from the year before? But who do you consistently see year after year after year? Those are your superstars, and they're the ones that are willing to make changes when needed. They're the ones that are sitting back looking at their business, seeing what's not working. They're the ones that have a team in place that their job every day is to get their message in front of as many people as possible. Other folks are waiting to be discovered. Superstars are dropping it in your lap every single day. So I want you to kind of get that mentality of a superstar, because now you've got the same tools. You can wake up every morning and drop your stuff in front of someone and no one can tell you anything. No, sorry, you can't do that. Bullshit. I sure can. No one can stop you from getting your music out there except for you, period.
Amen. Woo! Sorry, guys. It's going to get hot in here, so get ready. Turn down the AC where you're at.
And by the way, these are such great questions. They're all going to end up as podcast topics. So yeah, I'll give you credit, Nora, Riva, everybody. No, you got it.
We're going to take 2 more questions from the forum, and then I'm going to open up the floor to everybody who's here live to just, I see some of you guys already inputting some questions. So let's go to the next one. Noah Worf is asking, Rick, I'm looking for advice on promoting an album pre-release for independent artists. How do I really get it out there so that when it's released, hopefully people would want to buy it? And one other question, any advice on how to network with bigger name artists? I have a favorite band that I wish to someday be an opening band for my group, but I don't know if that's even possible for an independent artist.
Awesome. Yeah, 2 very good questions. Let's tackle the first part of that. So you're bringing a brand new release, and do not make the mistake that most artists make, is that they only show up when they need stuff. The worst thing that you can do is be quiet, because sometimes the psychology is, well, I don't have anything to promote right now, so I'm just going to disappear and then I'll show up when I have something to promote. It's like your friend that just shows up when they need crap. We don't like that. We want, what I would do right now to have, because you said one thing too here that's super important, want to buy it. People who would want to buy it. What I've learned in the independent space, and I've worked with thousands of artists, and I do a lot of work with Pledge Music, is you need to bring the fans in on the process of making the record. They need to know the stories behind the songs. They need to know the inspiration behind the song. They need to see pictures of you in the studio. You need to make them feel like they were a part of the process. Now, even if this album's already created, which a lot of times artists will make the mistake of creating an album first and then going to try to build an audience with it. Basically, at that point, you're asking complete strangers to buy into what it is that you've created. The reason that Taylor was so successful is she wrote the stories of their lives through her eyes. So what you want to be able to do is make them feel that they were a part of it. Now, Noah, even if you've already recorded this, go backwards, start staging some stuff, start getting some B-roll, getting some footage. Right now, too, is unless you have a massive fan base, there's no reason to release an album first. What you would want to do, in my opinion, is break that album down. If you've got, we'll just do math. If you have 10 tracks, you now have release a new track every couple weeks. And the reason that you want to do it like that now is a lot of people are coming to me going, Rick, I put this song up on Spotify and I had all these monthly users and now they're like disappearing. I'm like, well, have you put up another track? And they're like, well, no. I said, then why would somebody come back every month to hear the same damn song that they've already heard? There's a reason why Drake released 180 songs last year. There's a reason why Russ and some of these folks that are having amazing success online. So you break those songs up. So what it does is every time you post another song, the people get notified that you posted another song. You want to make sure that when you register your songs, that you're using the same ISRC codes on the individual singles, and they're the same ISRC code for the track on the album. So the single plays count towards the album plays, but I would split it up and I would release it. And I would be okay right now. The new purchase is a play, by the way, Noah. It's really hard for people who don't feel connected to you to part with their money. So that's all in the relationship building side, because the way the world is today, the consumer can consume your product for free. What they're investing in is you. Now to the second question. You have a favorite band that you wish someday to open for? Yes, you and every other band who's a fan of that famous band. So the question is this: what do you bring to the table? Real interesting. We just discussed this last night at my live event here in Nashville. Bands that are headliners, so your band's probably a headliner, they're going to pick openers based on a couple different things. One is if they really need to sell tickets, they're going to get an artist that's got something hot on the radio right now, someone that's got a buzz, someone that can help drive butts into the seats. Second one is they really don't need help selling, so they're going to find somebody they feel is a good hang. So it may be a songwriter, maybe a DJ, maybe somebody that they bring out on the road who isn't required to sell tickets, but they just know they're a great hang and their fan base would absolutely love them. The third way is that they go and they try to find a band that's local to that area, because they don't have to pay them as much as they would someone else that's traveling with them, and that they would also know that you could put, some butts in the seat as well. So the key is, whenever you reach out to anyone, start with what you bring to the table, not what you feel they can do for you. And that's just a life philosophy to have as well.
Yes.
You and I discussed that a lot on the podcast that you were a guest on.
Yeah.
And that's how you got started, as you went in and said, can I do this for you? This is what I feel I can do for you. Too often in the back of our mind, we're like, okay, I know if I got on this stage, it would change my life. Most of the time, though, by the way, just so you know, Noah, and I've had artists in both positions as openers and as headliners, it usually you lose money. No one's there early. The time slot that you get to go on, you're not going to necessarily get to go on right before your favorite artist. You may be the fourth act, or a lot of people aren't there to see you. There's no budget in it. It's just a great social proof to be able to take pictures and, build your audience that way. But just build that audience, sell those records, get the streams. If you're not selling records, make sure you're getting streams. And if you're not selling records and not getting streams, you better go back and see if your music's right. Because if people aren't consuming or sharing your product, it's probably your product. And that's the hardest thing sometimes for an artist to realize. But once again, fantastic questions.
Yeah. Wow. Gee whiz.
This is going to be like a 3-hour gig, right? You and I today.
I know. We might push it a little. I don't know, guys. Right. Golston's asking, without compromising passion and intent, what's your advice on how much time a person should invest daily/weekly listening and posting feedback on other people's stuff versus time that needs to be spent on creating music, making deadlines, and building relationships? How would you, basically, how do you time manage?
How do I get these people in my group? Because these are awesome questions. They really are. And Golston, that is the coolest name, by the way.
Yeah, it is.
Right. So here's the way that you can do this, Golston, is that you want to look at time management is wonderful. It's like I always tell people, so the social media, commenting, you're asking all the right questions. Think of that as like the customer service portal in your business. So what I like to do is this. I call it the meal plan. You give your fans something for breakfast, you give them something for lunch, and you give them something for dinner on all of your platforms. And then where you would snack, you can go in and you can comment and you can give feedback and things like that. So that's all perfect. So give yourself an hour a day for the customer service in your business. You give yourself 2 hours a day, you're going to have a stronger relationship with your audience. You give yourself 3 hours a day, you're going to have an amazing relationship with your audience. The cool part is don't forget too, to capture when you're being creative and share that with them at a later date. Don't separate your two lives. That's one. You know, they want to feel like they're a part of it. So make sure that you're snapping pictures. Make sure you're doing Instagram story. Make sure you're using all the tools that are free, that are available to you, and then you don't have to do it. But what you don't want to ever get it to the point is where it feels like it's a chore, where it feels like, oh, crap, now I got to go talk to my fans. If it ever gets like that, quit the business, because it shouldn't be like that, you know, and that's on you. That's not on them. All they're wanting to do is love on you, you know. So, but don't spend all day there either. You know, let them know, hey, I'm working. Don't forget to say, do a quick video. Hey, heading into the studio. Can't wait to talk to you guys later. I'll shoot pictures and share that with you. Boom, you're out. You know, that took you 15, 20 seconds. And now that's being shared out there. So those are fantastic. But don't make it feel like your whole world's coming to an end because you've got to go in and do that. And if it starts feeling that way, then step back and say, okay, where am I making the mistake? What can I eliminate? You know, and then, but that's what I have to do with my business too. That's what I have to do with my wife. That's what I have to do with my kids. That's what I have to do with my business. It's like when it starts feeling like a chore and it stops being fun, it's usually on me. And I got to figure out what's going on with me.
Yeah, that's awesome. That's awesome. Dude, I mean, I'm just getting convicted left and right. I'm like, oh, gosh, I was about to just do a selfie right now and just start. Right. So here's our next question. Guys, and these are amazing questions. And
I need a copy of them.
Yeah, we definitely will. We've got them all down for you. Richard is asking, ahead of my first EP release, is it worth spending money on promotion before the release, or would you recommend waiting until the release date? I can understand the value of building a buzz for an artist who already has an audience, but I feel like I need to have the goods already on the shelf before I can entice anyone in it.
And I think we answered that a little bit earlier, but I also think the answer to that would be both. Because what you want to do, Richard, early on is you want to introduce people to you and your music. So that's why we will do Facebook ads targeting a specific popular artist that you feel would dig into your music. And usually what we do with that is that I will have an artist. I would advise you, Richard. I'd say, Richard, give me the 5 artists that you feel their fan base, if you had a chance to open for this artist, would just dig your music.
Dang.
Now go and I want you to do a cover. I want you to do a video, 30-second of what their favorite song is and how it impacted your life. I want you to get in the conversation on that band. I want you to go to their Facebook or Twitter page and start following their fans. I want you to start then commenting on those fans' posts. Don't bring up the fact that you're a singer yet. Don't bring up the fact that you've got an EP. Go get involved in a conversation where when the time is right, you can bring up the fact that you're in a band. So get to the party first, do everything you can to get involved in those conversations. And then when the timing is right and they see your sponsored ad show up on their page promoting your new record, they're going to go, dude, that's the Richard that's always in there just bringing so much value. He's always sharing my stuff. He's always telling me how cool my posts are. I'm going to check out and see what this guy's doing. There's this word that we forget about called reciprocity. And people are going to want to reciprocate. That's where reciprocity comes from. They're going to want to reciprocate good deeds. So if you're constantly helping them, then they're going to feel obligated to help back. So go ahead and do both, that before and after.
Wow. Wow. And, you know, I just want to chime in a little bit on that as well. Guys, a lot of this stuff might sound like echoes from previous live Q&As that I've done. And I just want to reiterate that, you know, this is from 2 different sources. This is Rick saying it, who's such a great authority, but I'm sharing similar things because Rick and I are living in this space. And the reason why it's just verifying, it's just authenticating what we're saying, because we're seeing it left and right. Like, we know this climate. And so you can now, this is concrete, you know, this is concrete evidence towards, okay, yeah, these are system and processes that we both Rick and I on, you know, in the same world, distance apart, but we can detect this because we know it's what's happening. So,
well, and let me add this to that, is that I haven't seen any of these questions. The very first time that we ever met, I interviewed him for my podcast. I started rolling as we were just talking about a buddy of ours, and I said, I love this whole part. I'm going to go ahead and keep it. But here's the thing. If all he was telling me and all his interview was, so wait to get discovered and, you know, spend this money to get with this. We're attracted to each other because we have like-minded ideas. We know the work that needs to be done. We know there are no shortcuts. There are some shortcuts, but the shortcuts that we're going to provide you are for time purposes. You know, there is no shortcut to success, but there is a shortcut for time. And that's what we're going to share with you. But you need to also surround yourself by like-minded people in your camp. Because if all we did was disagree with each other, this wouldn't be good for you guys. It wouldn't be good for us. I believe in what it is that he's teaching. I believe in the way that it is that he's teaching. I believe in the reality of what it is that he's teaching. So that's why I'm willing to take my time right now, which, by the way, guys, I'm not being compensated for. What I'm doing right now is he is graciously allowing me to prove myself to you. So when the time is right, if it makes sense that you guys may want to come into our world, that's the same way the fans are right now. There's no shortage of bands trying to get their attention. What you have to do is go in and earn the right for their money, for their ticket, for them to buy your hat, for them to buy your merchandise. The days of you saying, hey, I'm a band and people should just pay me to hear my music is like me showing up going, hey, I'm a guy who's in the business. You guys should just pay me to answer to be able to ask me these questions.
Yeah.
We are doing the exact same thing that we're teaching you to do. We're putting out content to create value, to hope that at some point you feel what we did brought value enough to you that you would want to invest back in us. But what we had to do first was invest in you. And that's what I'm doing by being here today. I'm investing in you so that you at the end say, you know what, that dude, I'm all in. You know, whatever he's got, I want to be involved with, because so that's what I love about this, is that we're having conversations and we're doing the exact same thing as you. There's just not song involved. Our songs are our programs. Our songs are our blogs. My song I put out 2 songs a week. They're called podcasts. You know? And hopefully people listen to it and they like it and they come into my world. So awesome.
Awesome. All right, well, let's jump to some live questions that some of you guys have asked in this feed. So we're going to jump right to Jason. He's asking, I'm registered with ASCAP, yet I don't really seem to have a use for it. I'm with Distrokid and they distribute and collect for me. So what do I need ASCAP for? I'll chime in and then you could fill in.
Go
if
ahead.
You don't mind.
You're also you also put out music, so this is better for you.
Yeah, listen, the most important thing, the worst thing someone can do when walking a tightrope is not have a net below them. All right. And so if you just, in this day and age, yes, distribution has made it possible for you to get your music globally circulated. But a performance rights organization such as ASCAP, BMI, or CSAC, they're great because they're the ones that are going to track when the song needs to be trackable in a very lucrative platform, such as if your song's even being played on grocery stores or on radio or on satellite radio. So you need to have that in place because you're properly placing the right foundation down so that when your song needs to be registered, what happens if that song gets picked up and wants to get synced for a movie or a commercial? Because you don't have these things in line, it's another obstacle that you're going to have to go through, and you're going to have to fumble around when the time comes. You want that thing prepped, ready to go. Here's the splits. I'm with BMI. Everything's all set and ready to go. And you can also utilize the connections within ASCAP or BMI and all that. You can make connections there as well if you are a member with those PROs.
Well, you also have to understand that Distrokid is not a PRO, and unless you're registered with ASCAP, BMI, CSAC, SOCAN, whatever your PRO is and whatever, there is no money for them to collect. So they have to you have to have a PRO in order to collect royalties. The problem is that Distrokid is not collecting a certain royalty for you. They're collecting the publisher side for you. So you've probably checked off the box that they can act as your publisher. So the people who spend the money, ASCAP's going to give you your writer's share. They don't collect your publisher's share. So that may be what you're utilizing Distrokid for, but you do need both. So you can't have one without the other. Now, you know, there's a chance. Spotify just said that you won't need Distrokid in order to upload music, but you're going to want to stay with them if that's who you're with, or CD Baby or TuneCore. So it's two completely different forms, but you need both in order to collect the money that's rightfully yours. And what you also need, just so you know, is you also need Sound Exchange. Sound Exchange, ASCAP does not collect money from internet radio or Sirius, Satellite, Pandora, iHeart, any of that stuff. That's collected through Sound Exchange. And Sound Exchange, then there's Song Trust, you know, that's involved. There's so many different things that are out there. You need to, you know, make sure that you've got all your boxes checked. That's why that one section in my program is called Register Your Music Properly. I give you links to all of them to make sure that everything is in place. So
yeah, that's great. And guys, if you need a refresher on how publishing and all this stuff works, visit the Building a Music Career course in your dashboard as a BD Academy member.
Awesome.
So Phil is asking, how would you approach getting your music video seen? YouTube mainly. I released a single a few weeks ago and it got 60,000 spins on Spotify. Awesome. Kudos, Phil.
Yeah.
But video is stuck at 1,500 plays. Any advice on that? Thank you.
Yes. So first and foremost is, yes, you definitely want it to be on YouTube. You want to utilize the platforms for the languages that they speak. Now, here's the cool part. Your 1,500 plays is very impressive. And I'll tell you why, because that video wasn't probably on a playlist, which could have been what happened on Spotify. It could have been background noise. You get registered as a play. No one may have really ever heard it. The fact that these 1,500 people watched your video is a big thing. Also, too, is you can share it on Twitter. You can use Twitter as a way to share a section of the video and then put a link over to YouTube to watch the remaining part of it. You can also do the same thing on Facebook. Now, Facebook will penalize you. And what I mean by penalize sounds like much stronger than it is YouTube's job or Facebook's job is not to let you link out to someplace else. Why? Because they want to show you Facebook ads, not Google ads. Google owns YouTube. You also have to remember this. I don't go to Facebook to go watch YouTube videos. Facebook's usually pretty fast. So if you can give me a snippet and then say to watch the whole thing, you know, put a link in a comment or something like that. But utilize all your different resources to drive attention to your video. Once again, you've got to share it multiple times a day. You just can't post it once and think that people are going to find it. You have to post over and over and over again. Now, the good news about that is these social platforms aren't going to show. So if you've sent it to me, Phil, and I've seen it and I've already engaged with it, they're not going to show it to me again because they don't want to piss me off. So don't worry about posting too much. You cannot post too much. Keep sharing it, but drive them to YouTube because that's where people go to watch videos.
Cool. Awesome. I love that. I'm definitely quoting you on that. You can't post too much. Phil's also asking, what is your opinion on working with an artist manager that doesn't live directly in your genre of music, but has an amazing reputation and a huge network? Basically, I guess somebody saw interest, but you know, they might manage house DJs and this guy's, you know, playing the banjo.
So what is it that his network's going to be able to do for you if he's not in your genre is one. Two, is he really going to have time for you is another thing that you want to be able to look at. You are your first manager. No one's going to care more about your business right now than you. Most of you aren't yet in a position to be able to pay a manager. So a manager may be excited for a little while, but you know, after 4 months, 5 months, 6 months of seeing no income come in, they're going to lose interest real quick. We all get excited about the music. That's why we're in it. I always tell people, fall in love with the jockey, not the horse. The songs are the horses. I want that jockey. I want to fall in love with the person that's delivering the work. But I also think too, as you sit down, don't get, hell, I had zero experience when I managed Taylor. I had never managed an artist before. I had no proven track record as a manager. I was passionate about her. I wasn't afraid to ask questions, and I believed in her. So don't think that you need that shiny manager that's had past success. Sometimes it's the person that cares about you the most, that isn't afraid to go out and learn from people like me or ill. If someone is willing to go out and get that knowledge, that may be your best first manager. It's someone who's passionate and believes in you. Don't get fooled by what this guy may have done for somebody else. I always tell people, you're going to listen to me because of Taylor, and I may get your attention because of Taylor. But guys, that was 10 years ago. The questions you should be asking me are, what are you doing for independent artists just like me? That's the bigger question. Not what I did for Taylor, but what I can do for people like you in the position that you're in right now.
Hot dang. All right. I'm going to go rock back and forth in a fetal position and cry for a little bit. How awesome this is. All right. So the next question is coming from William.
This is you. This is your question. This isn't for Rick.
Yeah.
I've written one song in my life, William, so I'm the wrong guy for this.
So I'll check this one out. In terms of songwriting, what is the norm as a process? I've often wondered that a person would merely hum, mumble, or something like that, just to stay in sync with a given melody or tune, and continue till they flesh it out. The words to fill in the gaps. Your thoughts, please. And also, thank you for being here today. Well, thank you for being here, Rick. But yeah, in terms of songwriting, one of the biggest reasons why I tell you guys in the courses and throughout, these mentoring opportunities is to have a reference, is because those references become a second nature to you as you continue to practice. A lot of people don't realize that when you're producing music, we only assume that musicians practice. If you want to be a better piano player, you're putting in the hours, you're learning your scales. You want to be a better guitar player, you're learning your skills. But producing music also takes practice in it of itself. And having a reference track in your sessions become a way for you to understand, I'm using a reference point, and it becomes an anchor for me, so that you get familiar with what great songs, how they're arranged, how vocal melodies are produced, how different dynamics are done throughout songwriting. So how, what's the norm? Well, the norm is going to look different depending on what kind of music that you want to write. I say always just create a workflow that allows you to eliminate the most distractions as possible so that you can get your melodies out. If it takes you to have a voice memo thing, do it. That's how I get my stuff. I put the voice memo on while I'm making a beat. I just hum and I sing a bunch of stuff. But a lot of times I'm just not uninspired, or I just don't know where I'm going. And that's where having a reference track could be a really helpful tool. You have a track, you're like, oh, that's what they're doing in their verses. You don't necessarily have to write exactly like that, but you get a good reference point as to what to do and where to go when writing your song. Then you do that enough times and you won't have to do that anymore. It just becomes second nature. I know what a good pop melody is. I know what a good pop chorus would sound like because I do it I've referenced it so many times. So that's what I would say with that.
And the other thing I would say is listen to songs that are hits that you want to write there, and you'll notice that there is a structure. There is something that's going on. You want to be sure that a lot of people say, I go, what's your goal? Well, I want to have songs on the radio. Great. How often do you listen to the radio? Well, I never listen to the radio. Come on.
Sell out, man. I'm writing,
Yeah, exactly.
Next question, Son of Elroy. Love the name. For both masters, what is your formula for writing licensable songs quickly? Similar to what I just said, find out songs that are being licensed a lot. You can easily do this by just first go to commercials, go on YouTube, find a bunch of commercials, listen, find what's the common denominator. So if you listen to 10 commercials and you go, the majority of them are these upbeat, cheerful lift songs, guess what? That's you should be gravitating. That's the common denominator. So keep your song writing broad so that it's not very niche and specific about, well, I met this girl on a Tuesday afternoon. But if it's broad about, hey, let's be together, let's be happy, those tend to work out really well. So just find common denominators of songs that are being used frequently in a lot of commercials or movies and things like that. I'm
going to bring you a guy that's going to be an amazing guest for you. His name's Michael Elsner. I just helped promote Michael, lives here in Nashville, friend of mine, Master Music Licensing. And Michael's had over 2,000 placements. And Michael, what he's done is he's the one who teaches people how to take sections of their songs. But the advice that he gave my coaching group, just like this, was he said, start listening to TV and stop watching TV. If you sit down and close your eyes, you're going to hear the music throughout the whole entire episode. You're never going to hear complete songs. You're going to hear parts. You're going to hear hooks. You're going to hear different choruses. He teaches you how to take your song and create 10, 15, 20 licensable pieces out of this song. One of his case studies, he took this little girl who's got 4 country album or songs, and she now has 52 placements from pieces of those songs. So great advice. Start listening to the commercials. Start listening to television. Stop watching. Start listening. And once again, there's a skill in it. And I'll get you and Michael together, and I'll have him send to you a link where your kids, he wrote this great book, and it's about keyword and metadata. I mean, it's the most amazing thing I've ever seen. And he's got artists right now that are all making money with their music, and it's badass.
Awesome.
Yeah.
That's so if whatever we can do to make everybody who's a member win, I'm for it. So let's go. Darren Clark is asking, hi, I wanted advice on an artist who does not sing but produces music and how to get into the scene on the back of your music talent. So I guess what he's asking is a lot of your advice seems fittable for artists who are in the limelight, who they're writing the songs there. But what about instrumentalists or producers or artists that are just making music without a lot of that?
Well, I think it's the same way. You're still going to want to get your product. Let's not even call it. You want to get your product in front of as many people as possible. Also, too, Darren, and I think I know Darren, you're also, if you ever want to get top line writers, if you ever want to get vocalists, you'd be utilizing social media as a way to build relationships, as a way to go out and compliment people on what it is that they're doing, looking for collaborations. But whatever we're selling, we're either selling ourselves, we're selling our product, we're selling relationships. We're always selling. Those of you that say, I don't want to be a salesperson. Well, you are a salesperson. I sell to my kids every day to try to get them what I need them to do. My wife, we are always selling. We're always doing that. So I would use it as a way to build relationships. Also, too, is I would go study other people that are having success in your space and see what it is that they're doing. You know, that's we don't have to reinvent the wheel. You know, there's people out there having success with what you're doing. Go look at what they're doing and see how much you can duplicate. See how much is open. Reach out to them and compliment them on what they're doing, and just start following them. Put them on notifications. So every time they post, we did this early on with an artist, is we put notifications on so that every time another artist posted, we posted, so we could match what it is that they were doing. And it worked out really well. It's like, damn, they're working a lot. You know, it's like if your notifications keep going off and you're like, ooh, I wouldn't have done that. That's what you see as you're getting outworked. So you don't ever want to get outworked. But Darren, I appreciate the question, my friend.
Wow, that's a great idea. I've never even thought of that. That's really cool. All right, we've got Anthony Larzo. I'm a fan of Rick's podcast. Awesome. Especially love the interview with Il. True. Kyle Lamore and Michael is it Eisner?
Michael Elsner, the guy I just talked about. Yep.
Yeah, awesome. All these guys have been great mentors, and I've learned a lot from each one of them. I still feel the lack of a similar groundbreaking figure and podcast for the streaming world. I would love Mike Warner's book, but I still feel a pivotal course is needed in that field. I guess, would there be a future podcast about this topic, or did I miss him? I mean, maybe that's something him and I can implement if we connect. Or
yeah, and also too is I'm going to say something, Anthony, and I don't want you to take this the wrong way. All of us have told you what to do. Now you need to get out and do it. You know, at some point we overeducate ourselves. At some point we want so much knowledge, but we don't go out and do it. The best way to stream, that's the world we live in. So one, you've got to get your music out. You don't need a podcast to tell you that. You need to create great music. You don't need a podcast to tell you that. You need to get your music to a distributor that can get your music out there. You don't need a podcast to teach you that. And you need to drive people to where it is that you want them to consume the content. So if you're trying to really up your Spotify game, then you're going to focus on sending your Spotify playlist to as many people as possible, or your Spotify player. What's cool about that is there's these things called APIs, and it means that this program will talk to this program, and they're very friendly with each other. So if you have all your music, this is where I wish I could talk to him and get a couple more bits of questions from him. But if you've got music that you need to get out there, go into Spotify and it'll say share, and it'll show you Twitter, Facebook, Instagram. As soon as you click that, it's going to embed a player inside of that social platform. So that's what we have to do is we have to make sure that these people have these streaming platforms. So if you're in hip hop and R&B, awesome. Your audience is still streaming. Your audience is streaming. If you're in country music, a lot of them aren't doing this yet. So you need to also educate people on how to do that. There's these great things like Linkfire. Linkfire is you can put up a song, it'll put a cool picture, it'll drop, and it'll say, listen to it on Spotify, listen to it on Apple, listen to it on Deezer. It lets the person pick where it is that they're located to be able to hear your song. The thing I hate the most is that, it's like when I have to sign on and then re-sign. All I wanted to do was hear the song. But what you should do today, too, more than anything, is all of you need to make sure that you have a website. That's the only thing that you own. And you can embed players and have your music on the front page of your website. And that's where you should be driving everyone. All of your traffic, in my opinion, should be going to a property that you own, that you can have pixeled, so that at some point you can go back and have a separate conversation with them. Because if Spotify goes, Facebook goes, Twitter goes, and that's the only place you are communicating with your fans. So what I would do, Anthony, is I would really focus more right now on, you don't need to learn anything more about streaming. You really don't. You just need to drive people to hear your music. If you want to hire a company to help you get on different playlists, first things I teach people is start your own playlist. I have a section in my masterclass on streaming, on Spotify. Michael Warner's book is fantastic that he mentioned. Michael also teaches people. He's a curator. We did a great podcast together. It's like everybody he mentioned. I love that he listens to the podcast. But Anthony, do me a favor. Send me an email to rick@rickbarker.com and put your contact information in there. I would love to get you on the phone and have a deeper conversation, because I think you're trying to say more than what we're able to read in your post. And I want to give you the ability to clarify some things for me so that I can point you in the right direction, because you're obviously willing to do the work. That's what I loved about you. You are doing the education. You are doing the work. I just want to make sure you're not doing what Rick did last year and bought about 5 different courses and I never put anything out. I am speaking from experience on over-educating and overthinking it sometimes. So if you can get that information to me, I will call you and we'll have a different conversation.
Awesome. Awesome. Well, we'll make sure if he's on board, or I'll have my team contact him and extend that invitation. So Frank is asking, my question for Rick is, how can one get started in managing talent? Well, that's interesting. How would you be yeah, there you go. What would be the scenario if someone's starting out, and what would they do to start managing talent? That
is a fantastic question, Frank. And you start managing by managing. So what you need to understand is this, is that what value do you bring to a current band? So what I would do is I would find a band in your area, or a band that you can directly communicate with on social media. Now you don't even need to be in the same town to manage artists, which is super cool. So find someone that you feel you can bring value to. A lot of people that are in my programs are actually managers, because they're just wanting to learn everything that I know, and they're going to go find a band who's probably bad at social media, who could use help in promoting their shows. And they're going to say, listen, I love your music. I would love to start helping you with this. I don't think you go in and ask to manage them first. I think you ask to go in and provide some value to them. And then you take on another, once you get in and you see what's broke, if you don't know how to fix it, go find out how to fix it. It's not that hard. You know, one of the things that I did with Taylor is, and her dad said this in one of the interviews, he says, Rick wasn't afraid to go seek out mentorship, and he wasn't afraid to go ask for help. Don't be afraid to ask for help. If the band asks you, if you see the band has a problem, you can go in and type on YouTube whatever that problem is, and something will probably pop up. Or if you're in, Ill's group, or, my group, you can come in and say, hey, I've got a quick question. I'm managing this band. This is what I think they need. How would you best approach it? What's going on right now with this? I don't know if you guys realize how priceless this is, that he gives you the opportunity to ask him questions, and that's what we both do inside of our program. So go find a band that could use your help and provide that help. And when the timing's right, sit there and say, you know what? I would love the opportunity to manage you guys. I think I can bring more value to you. Once again, tell them what you can do for them, not what it is that they can do for you. And learn from people. Learn from the people that are having success doing what it is that you ultimately want to do.
Yeah, and well said. And for a lot of guys who are producing alongside artists and wanting to, it's the same mentality, the same thing we've mentioned before. If you're producing, it's like, okay, how do I break through as a producer? Find talent that you can believe in, find an artist that you can develop, and even helping them find and develop their sound. And you do the same thing. You're bringing value to the table. What's going to be different between you and the other guy who's giving them beats for $5? Well, the difference between you is that, hey, you know what? If we make a beat together, or if we work on a song together, I can help you with building a fan base. Now, this is stuff I learned from Rick. This is stuff I've learned from Il. Now that I know how to do this stuff, I'm going to help you with it. And now you've just brought like tremendous value to this artist who's working with you. And there's like, I'm never going to go to that $5 beat guy again, because you're bringing something else that it's just tremendous value and bringing it. And so serving and giving will definitely overflow to meet the needs that you're looking for.
Well, and what happened too is when I started with Taylor, I wasn't actually her manager. I was working for the record company, and I just saw things that were working and noticed some things that I brought up. And then they sent her to me to teach her radio. Because I was I came from radio, and I was the West Coast regional, and we were around. She just had questions, and I just kept fixing things or answering these questions. And after she went around Nashville, and I said, and finally I called the record company. I'm like, dude, you guys got to find her a manager. They're driving me crazy. They keep calling me every night. They want me to solve the world's problems with them. I said, they got to go find a manager. And so they went and they met with everyone, and most of them turned her down. Most of them didn't want to deal with a teenager. Some of them didn't want to deal with a teenager with very active parents. Some of them didn't understand the internet. It just wasn't a right fit. So when her dad called and said, hey, you know, what would you say if I said Taylor wanted you to be her manager? I said, I would say, no, I don't have any experience. He says, let me tell you this. 1, you believe in her. 2, she trusts you. And 3, you're not afraid to do the work with her. You know, there's a lot of people that just tell folks what work has to be done. You'll roll up your sleeves and do the work with her, and you're willing to go out and get the answers to the questions that you don't have. So find a band that you can be passionate about and go provide value to them, and realize that it's usually the second manager of the band that makes money, not the first. So don't put too much into it. But get that experience.
Yeah. Awesome. Len is asking, my question for Rick is, how does an artist, especially a songwriter, singer, grow his or her influence from zero? Apart from that, before being signed to any label, what kind of preparation is good for the artist?
Those are great questions. The first thing I would say is the best thing that an artist can do, especially starting from zero, is be patient. You show up to a label because you wrote one song, the label's not ready for you. The labels are actually looking for reasons to say no right now because it's so crowded out there. The key is not to give them any. The other thing is to realize is that a record deal at a label is not for everyone. It's for the right artist. And one of the things that you guys should be aware of is that when most of these major superstars now are counting the days that they can get out of their major label deal, that should be writing on the wall for you. They're now all wanting to be independent like you. Now, yes, it's different. They've got an audience. They've got all these things. But what they also have are the same tools that you have in order to get direct access to your fan, distribution, and things like that. They're wanting to flip the script. Instead of the label getting 82% and the artist keeping 18%, they would rather take the 80% and pay 20% out to distributors and people to collect your money and things like that. So the switch is being flipped. The key too is that you need to build a buzz. There needs to be something going on that's getting the label's attention. There's no shortage of pretty people that can sing. There's no shortage of ugly people that can sing, skinny people, fat people. It doesn't matter. There is a shortage of artists that are making money with their music right now, that are creating a buzz. Labels are looking for entities to invest in. They're looking to find businesses that are currently working. Now, it doesn't have to be working at the level at what they're used to playing with, but you have to create your own spark now. They're not even going to start the fire. You know, they're going to pour gasoline on the fire. And what happens is, if you think about this analogy, when you pour gasoline on the fire, it doesn't burn forever. It burns quickly, and then it goes back down again. And that's all the label's going to really care about, is they're going to keep throwing it on while it works. And then when it doesn't, they're going to put you out and go to somebody else. So patience, get the music right. It all starts with the music. Get a fan base that's sharing your stuff, talking about you, showing up at shows, buying merch, buying tickets, and then the right people that can help you get to the next level are going to ultimately find you. You're not going to have to look for them. They're going to find you, because we're constantly looking to find things that are working that we can assist and help with.
Yeah. Yeah. How you feeling, Rick? You good? You got some energy for a couple more?
Oh, absolutely. Dude, I'm all in. Yeah, I'm all in. Yeah. And at some point I want to answer Amber's question too. Yeah. I see her question over here. So
yeah, we've the team's collecting them all.
Circling them up. Perfect.
These are some really great questions coming in. So Renkai Yin, sorry if I butchered that. What do you think about releasing a single every month? Some say
yes, please. Yes, please.
Yeah, that's it, right? Yeah, well, we even talked about it before. Yeah. Guys, I mean, look at Netflix. Look at Netflix. Great it's no surprise that they're like #1 right now. And what are they doing? They realize the value of content. That's why they're spending as much or even more than Hollywood is on their series. They're throwing money down because they're like, we're hungry. New series, new thing every week, putting it out. And so, yeah, let me even finish the question here. Well, yeah, others say that 1 month is not enough to promote a single well. So I guess it's just
stop thinking about you guys promoting singles. That's what record labels do. They have to promote singles. That's their business model. That's not your business model. So you don't even have to think of it. I don't even want you to have that term in your brains anymore. You are constantly putting music out there that's going to drive people to you, because what you have to remember is just because you promoted something for a month, now you think it's old. Well, it's old to you. It's brand new to somebody else every day. I mean, Taylor right now, every week, is still selling her first record. Why? Because people are coming online every day throughout the world that have no clue who she is, that are finding her first record. So you guys stop thinking of, you have to put out singles, you have to promote a single. You've got to get content out into the world. And when people grab onto it and you see it start getting traction, start throwing money behind it to get more people to see it, because it's proven that it's worked. But you're not in a single promotion world. You're not a record. You're not a major label. You don't have to play by the same rules. You don't have to spend the same money. So don't think like that. Get your music out as often as you can. Circle back around. Recycle your winners. You should be posting your same song the same every day. Why? Because a different group of people are going to see it and hear it and share it. What you need to be looking at, though, as you're putting your music out there, are other people sharing it? Are other people commenting on it? Because if they're not, it's not connecting with them. That's how you know if a song's connecting today. It's not by the number of plays it has on Spotify, because we don't know if that was active listening or passive listening. And the difference is, active means I pushed play on your song because I wanted to hear it. Passive means it may just be playing in the background. If you're getting comments, you're getting shares, people are saying, I'm okay to let my friends know that I like this song. If they're not sharing it, they're not quite there yet. So don't keep putting out a whole bunch of songs that nobody's talking about. Go back and look at your business and see why they're not eating it, and then fix it. Get it right.
Awesome. Awesome. So Bernie's asking, I'm working at a major label while I'm working on a career.
Working at a major label. Wow. Okay.
Yeah, that's awesome.
Yeah.
So as artist and songwriter, so luckily I have a lot of contacts within the industry. So that's great, Bernie. Glad to have you on board with us. When I have my product, my good sounding songs, how would you say I should approach A&Rs, which are my colleagues? So this is a very unique circumstance.
It's a great question. It's like a lot of the interns from the colleges that get to work at a major label. They're also looking to be an artist.
Right.
Okay. So Bernie, you're going to become a spy. You're going to start asking them. You're going to start asking them questions. Hey, what do you hear out there that you're liking right now? They're an A&R. They're listening to music. Hey, this weekend I'm going on a road trip. Any cool stuff I should listen to? Then let them, when they tell you what it is that they're listening to, go in and you listen to that music as well and find out if your stuff, because every A&R person has a different ear. So what you're going to want to do is find the one that would most likely like your stuff. You're not going to waste it on the pop A&R person, if the country person, I'm just using that as an example. So I have a lot of friends that are in A&R. They all have different tastes. They all sign different artists. So use this opportunity that you've been giving to be a spy. So start eavesdropping in on conversations. Start, sometimes they'll have listening sessions. See if it's okay if you sit in on one. You'll know when the right time is to approach them. But if they are becoming your colleagues and your friends, they're going to know about your music. And if they're smart, they're going to say, hey, Bernie, when can I hear some of your stuff? I would love. Now that's a different invite than you kind of putting it on them. Or what it is when you feel the time is right, you can go to them and say, listen, for the last 6 months, I've been kind of watching what it is that you're doing. And is there a way that I could, maybe get some of your time to get some feedback on one of my songs? Oh, wow, Bernie, I didn't know that you wrote songs, or whatever that conversation is going to happen with after that. When you go out and you ask their advice, say, you know what, I've been watching what you're doing. I've been a fan of your work from afar. I know that I work in a different department, but I really love what you did with so-and-so artist. You could bring up a specific artist because the A&R people all have their artists. Start asking them questions about them. Let them brag about themselves a little bit, acknowledge some stuff. And then when it's right in the conversation, you can say something like, you know what, I so value your opinion. If it's not a lot to ask, would there be a chance that maybe you could listen to one of my songs and give me some feedback? And if you have been asking questions about them and letting them talk about them, the psychology and the human behavior is that they're going to say, Bernie, absolutely, man, I would love to hear one of your songs. And then let them know. And listen, I want you to be honest with me. I don't want you to sugarcoat it. I'm ready to roll up my sleeves and do the work. I just want someone who I trust to give me the advice on what it is that I should be doing. There's so many people that will just randomly hear things. I trust your opinion and I'm willing to do the work. I will not waste your time. When you say things like that and you do it in that way, how are they going to say no to you? If they say no to you, they're just a butthead anyway, and you don't want their opinion.
Yeah, that's great. And also, I would really encourage you, Bernie, to lay down the right foundation. Get the momentum and buzz that will blow them away, regardless. It's like, how are you doing that under our noses?
Right. I love that.
About it. Like, you should be doing everything that we talked about today, implementing the same strategies, getting the buzz, getting the movement. As a matter of fact, you should already be releasing the music, building that buzz. And then I would kind of rub shoulders with them and say, hey, man, I'm just getting some things going. Like, they should accidentally bump into your Instagram because they work with you and they'd be like, dude, like, I didn't know you were killing it like this.
Love that.
I think that's a good sneak attack as way, because now it's like, yeah, you kind of want to be like, I don't really need you guys to do what I'm doing, but if you want to jump on the train, I'd welcome it.
There you go. The Bernie train.
Get the Bernie train.
Get the Bernie train rolling.
Yeah. I don't know if this was the question you were referring to, Rick, but Adrian's asking, I'm not sure if this was asked already. What would you recommend for somebody who's interested in getting into artist management this day and age, but has no experience? I think you covered a lot of that.
Yeah, we did cover a lot of that. I would get courses. I would learn from people like me. I would learn from people that are in the industry. I know the question that I saw earlier, let me scroll down. It was from Amber. And I hear you about being consistent. My question is there ever too much marketing? Yes. There's always too much marketing. What you want to do is not always be in a marketing and promotion role, but be in getting content out. So like for me, I'll put out a quote. I'm marketing myself, but it's not marketing. I'm providing quotes, positivity, value. I'll do my podcast. My podcast is providing value but it's marketing. So you want to put stuff out that's of value, Amber, and you can never put out too much stuff that brings value. If all you're doing is buy for me, vote for me, do for me, me, look at my song, look at my video. We don't like our friends that are that way. So you don't be that person. So you can never put out too much quality content, but you can definitely overmarket. So don't overmarket. Content and marketing, two different things.
Great response. Definitely echo that. All right, let's go back to, I don't know what I did. I think
is it Albert?
There he goes. At low.
Okay.
Adel. Anyways, you there, that guy or girl, is there now a standard split for instrumental music track creator versus top liner? And if so, what is the natural fair split? Which, well, when it comes down to splitting anything, it's all going to be circumstantial, and that's going to be between the relationship between you, the artist, and whoever's involved in that project. So if I create a beat and I invite somebody, well, for instance, like the song I did with Katie Garfield, if I invite her into that process, we then come up with a split that seems fair. Now, I wrote the melody, did a lot of the track, and I wanted to have her feature. So I was like, hey, this is what I feel. And I'm totally open for her to push back and say, well, can we go for this? That's going to be a complete discussion. But I would encourage you to never be timid to have that discussion. Always openly say, hey, I'm open to have a discussion. Not a dictatorship. Well, it's going to be this regardless. And I've been in that situation before. If you want to enter that kind of situation, that's all on you. But just always have a discussion. Hey, this is, since I did the track, did the melody, whatever, I feel this would be kind of cool. And if they come back, well, no, I don't. Well, then you have that discussion, compromise, come to a safe place. I always side on the air of 10% of something is better than 100% of nothing. So don't throw the baby out with the bathwater for the sake of, I wanted 3 more points or 3 extra percentage. And regardless, unless you're like Jay-Z or Beyonce, if you're doing those kind of numbers, that's where those, you can kind of fight for the 2 points. But if you're just independent, you're putting stuff out, just get it out there for the sake of putting content out.
Yeah, my advice is get all that discussed on the front end. Not after the song's been created, not when the song's getting ready to go out to the market. Have those conversations in the very beginning, because if it's uncomfortable and weird in the very beginning, it's going to be even weirder at the end. So go ahead and get that out of the way now.
Yeah. All right, guys, let's get a couple more questions in, and then we'll wrap up this session. It's crazy. I mean, we could do this all day, but
let's get to Albert after we get to Blake.
Sure. So Blake is asking, what's your advice on hiring someone to manage your social media presence if you're not yourself? If you yourself don't have the time for it, or if it's not, and is it something common?
Sometimes, Blake, it's too common, and it's the worst thing that someone could do, in my opinion. There are so many tools out there that you can utilize. So the voice always has to be you. Know that. So you don't want to hire someone to create your content. You don't want someone to pretend to be you. It's like, how much hiring someone to manage the relationship with my kids because I'm busy, or hiring someone to manage the relationship with my wife because I'm too busy. You make time for what you care about, and you should care about this relationship, because what social media is it's the customer service portal for your business. So what you need to do is learn about the tools that there are to automate. I have Maddie and Hannah in my office. Now, Maddie and Hannah will post or schedule my things to go out, but these are all my quotes. I don't make the pictures now with my quotes on it. Somebody else does that for me. But these are all things that I believe in, things that I've signed off on. They will reach out to me. You can have somebody, Blake, that overlooks it and says, hey, how do you want to respond to this? I don't have time like you guys to sit around and look at every comment that comes in, but I have people that monitor that for me. But I don't have people that are out there building the relationships with my people. That's on me. And that's why I said, if you can treat it like your meal plan, if you can give an hour a day to do that. If you don't have an hour a day for the customer service in your business, you're in the wrong business. You are here for the wrong reasons. Most of those people just want to be famous. Most of those people think that somebody else, major artists right now, you can see it's all promo. It's all press releases, all the crap that goes out from a lot of these superstars. And we don't want it. You won't respond to it. Your fans won't respond to it. So learn the tricks. In the beginning, all of you at the very beginning need to know and understand all of this. So when you do hand some of it off to someone, you know how to monitor it. You know how to call bullshit. You need to know if someone's trying to take advantage of you. But there's companies out there that'll charge you $1,000 a month. You could put that money someplace else that's more beneficial than your music, than handing your responsibility over to someone else. Now, that's how the labels used to do it. And I was as guilty as everyone else, because in my management company, I was doing everything the labels did. And what I didn't realize is, one, I was creating monsters. And two, I was driving fans away because they know when it's not you.
Wow. Wow. Authenticity always wins.
Correct.
Wow. So guys, we're going to jump onto Albert's question. We have one more question and we'll wrap it up for this Q&A. Albert, English is not my native language, but it's easier for me to write songs in English geographically. I don't live in an English-speaking country. The internet solves a lot of problems these days, but does it affect my chances of reaching more audience in this specific market or attracting local record labels? Should I make alternative versions? What do you think?
Dude, if you're multilingual, or I think that's awesome. Yeah. I wish that I was Spanish, quite honestly, because if I could take what I know now and put my programs into Spanish with the way the Latin market's coming on, holy crap, it would be a whole different thing. So there's a couple things that you say in here, Albert, is that if you're wanting to play local and they're not going to appreciate you singing in English, then yeah, locally you should probably perform in your native language. Online, you can definitely perform in English and perform in your native language. Try to double grow that audience. The record label, when you say local record labels, they might be looking for someone who, let's say if you're in India, they may be looking for someone who sings in Indian. You know, they are for whatever the language is there. If you're in Brazil or whatever. So those are all different things. But if you want to build a fan base internationally, you're right. The internet's the best way to go. But when you can do it in English and do it in whatever that other language is, I would be doing it in both, man. I would take full advantage of that weapon that you have that most people don't have. That's what makes you different. It really does. But once again, watch your translations. Some things may not translate. Yeah. So, you know, really become the best at writing in whatever your native language is, and then study with people like Ill or, you know, Martin or whoever. You know, learn from these songwriters. When you're doing things in two different languages, a lot of times it doesn't translate. The melody may need to change. You know, there's a lot of different things that go on with that, man. But Albert, rock on, man. I wish that I had that ability.
It's funny because you look more Hispanic than I do, and I'm Cuban.
I know.
Rican. It's just
people come. Yeah, I'll tell you a funny story. So when I'm Portuguese is kind of what my background is. I don't speak it. I don't know anything about it. When my daughter was born, my hair was slicked back. I had mustache, goatee. I looked like a Mexican gangbanger pretty much. And when my daughter was born, she had white hair, piercing blue eyes. So I look at her, and my wife went back to work after 3 months. I said, listen, Brianna. And she just looks up as a 3-month-old would. I said, when we're in Costco, don't you start screaming because people will think that daddy's abducting you. I said, there's no way I'm going to get out of this market without them thinking I'm trying to steal this white baby. I said, so.
That's awesome.
Her and I still joke about that today.
That's so crazy. Well, Rick, honestly, on behalf of all the members here, just really quick, guys in the chat room, if your first time, if this is your first Q&A ever, would you just let me know? Put number 1 in the chat room. Would love to just welcome you, first of all, to this Q&A and to Beat Academy. But Rick, man, on behalf of us, I can't thank you enough for doing what you're doing.
I love this. I do this this is what I enjoy so much. I really do. This is us doing the customer service part in our business. But it's like I always tell people too, as I say, I need to know what it is you're feeling, so that I can either help you with it, or hell, if enough of you are having the same problem, we're going to create a program out of it, and we're going to sell it to you. You are our best resource.
Yeah, absolutely. And that's what it is, man. Great, like you've mentioned earlier, great minds are aligning alike, because this isn't work. This is a passion that I've just recently stumbled across over the past couple of years, and it is such joy to be bringing stuff that we've learned from our horrible mistakes and our experiences. That's what we've learned the most. It's like, guys, we don't want you to make these mistakes. You know, I signed things I never should have signed. And Rick and I are just completely honored to. My mind is blown when I leave out of these live Q&As that I get to do this, because it's like this is such a joy for me, and I know it is for you, Rick. And I'm excited, guys. So if you're first time attendee here, welcome. And this is just a little taste of what Beat Academy is about, and as well as what Rick has got going on. So I would encourage you guys to check out Rick. Rick, what's the best place they can hear?
Yeah, here's the thing. Go to rickbarker.com and you can grab a free copy of my book while you're there. But click on the artist assessment. Take the assessment. I'm going to ask you a couple questions. It's going to kind of identify you as a beginner, intermediate, and advanced, because you can't teach everyone the same. And then you'll get a video, and I'll explain to you why I ask those questions, how to get you to the next level. And then I make an offer, and it's an offer for you to bring me on as a coach. It's an offer for you to check out some of my stuff. If it makes sense for you, great. If it doesn't, I'm okay with that too. But that's the best way to get with me. So
yeah.
There you go.
Awesome.
RickBarker.com.
Thank you so much for your time, Rick. Guys, this was amazing. And I have such great news to share with you about stuff that's happening down the road with Beat Academy. I'm going to put it in a video and put it in our forum. So excited that you guys are here with us and looking forward for our next step together. So take care, guys, and we'll see you soon.